Well, if you can't figure out from the title, the Trump card, well, we're talking about the presidential candidate extraordinaire taking the nation essentially by storm, leading all polls more than 2-1 to the closest Republican, and not even a blip on the old radar for Donald Trump is any of the Democrats. And wow, we're just kind of working the show tonight, kind of breaking it all down for you. Well, I'm pretty sure after 70 minutes or so into the show here, you know our opinion.
That's right. That's right. You know, and that's it. And people misunderstand him, too. He's just genuinely, I know people are going to laugh when they hear me say this, an incredibly lovable guy. He loves people. He loves America. He loves everything and everybody. He just doesn't put up with any crap. He just can't tolerate stupidity. He can't tolerate incompetence. He can't tolerate a lot of the same things I can't tolerate.
Right.
You know, it's just the way it is. He's actually nicer about it than I am, if you ask me. You know.
I would say that's fair.
Right. But, you know, I'm not running for president, so that's cool. You know. And I think that after all the missteps and bad choices that we really, come on, who else? Jeb Bush is second.
Oh my God!
Are you serious? Another Bush? Really? When I was teaching Tristan push in the bush, I was being facetious. You know, I wasn't serious.
Yeah, no, that's just a nightmare right there.
The whole entire thing is a nightmare. Just could you imagine another Bush with ISIS running around?
No.
I mean, it's not going to happen. He chose the wrong year to run. Sorry there, Jeb, but there's no way. You know, you're going to lose all of New York on that bet.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, yeah. So, you know, and more of what you think, though, because I know you have, you know, very strong opinions about this whole political thing.
I have, publicly stated many times that I don't participate in the system, never will participate in the system.
Not as a technically native Canadian, no.
I don't care if I'm frickin' Chinese. I wouldn't participate in the system. It does not work.
Right.
I learned this at 11 years old. I'm not about to change my mind now.
Right. No, I know.
There has been nothing in my 47 years that has been indicative of changing my mind to the contrary of what I realized at 11 years old.
Right.
You know. The only reason that I'm taking interest in this particular election and in this particular candidate is because he is the wild card. He is like, you know, he doesn't play the political game. He's a deal maker. He goes in, he negotiates for what's best on behalf of his own party, which is, well, up until now himself, but he's a proven exceptional negotiator. Why wouldn't we want someone like that in the Oval Office as opposed to the first black man or another Bush or a great man who fell asleep like Reagan or a great man who's having sex with interns like Clinton?
Right.
Give me a break.
Or Chris Christie, who'll lead his way through the White House.
Go back through all the presidents. Just pick one. There's an incident or there's a bloody nightmare associated with every single one of them.
That's right.
Every single one. There isn't one, well, rare exceptions like the third president of the United States that nobody knows and can remember and didn't do anything. Okay, so what? Inaction is good? Well, if you look at the actual game plan of the entire history of this country, yeah, it is. And what does that say about us? Why is nothing okay?
Yeah, that's the thing I don't understand. As a woman, I mean, I feel like I have more to go and fix this country than almost everybody else. Mm-hmm. It's just, and it's sad for me because obviously that's not my, you know, what I'm meant to do.
No.
You know, and, you know, and then we have, you know, the thing also that I hate about this whole political correct thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, the Gwyneth Paltrows and the vegans and the, you know, the no-hos and the, you know, all the trendy kind of, all this kind of, we're pansifying the entire country. I've said this before. We're raising generations of neurotics and scaredy cats and, you know, wusses. And, you know, when whomever it is that's going to come really comes, you know, how many are we going to have that aren't just going to run screaming into the night, you know, and just, you know, become body count? And that's the sad thing because, you know, even when I grew up in the 70s, like I said, I remember when, you felt safe in your country. You felt safe in your bed. You felt safe, and I don't feel safe anymore. I don't feel safe for my children. And I want that back. And I don't know any other person on this list that's going to give that to me.
Doesn't exist, no.
Well, he's the only one that I feel can do that. I feel like if Joe Schmo from Kokomo called him up and said, President Trump, I got this situation going on and my family's really scared and, we need help and we don't know what to do. Any other presidential entourage is going to say, go scratch, get lost, write him a letter, whatever. He'd fly out there and fix it because that's just the kind of guy he is. And aside from that, I don't see anyone else being able to fix these issues. They're all monumental.
Yeah.
They're all monumental.
That's the problem. As we've gone on, decades after decades after decades, things have gotten worse and worse and worse in just about every area of not only the lawmaking business, but in society, everything.
That's right. That's right. And,
you can't even have pride in something anymore. Oh, well, the rebel flag, the stars and bars.
Please, that gets me so angry. How dare you? First of all, were you around when your family members were killed or enslaved? No. So shut up.
Right.
If there's a Southern family that had relatives that actually did die, just like we had Union families that died, they're not allowed to honor their fallen family member because you don't agree with their politics?
No, and now they got to take it off of license plates. In today's headlines, now Virginia is taking it off their plates. You can't get it as an option anymore.
See, that's just stupid to me. I'm going to start an art installation. I'm just going to paint them. I'll just paint them on canvas. I'll put them in the gallery and people can buy them. And that's it. Because this is just stupid. I'm English, people. Okay, descended from the line of the Norfolk Howards, and what, I can't have my family crest because you don't agree with my English politics? I mean, it's the same thing.
I'm Irish, and I wouldn't stop you.
That's right, and we still own them. So, yeah. See how that works? And that's the whole thing. Yoga. Yeah, that's right. You see, that's the whole thing. That's what I say. And do we... Honestly, there are a handful of Irish people that would actually get offended at that because it's the truth, and we know it's the truth and the troubles are long behind now and all that kind of stuff. So it's just the way it is. You got to take life a little more lightly. And I'll tell you right now, if you people cared more about the stuff that was really important, then we'd have communities of families in houses that would make this country strong. And we wouldn't need to look outside because our own homes would be strong. And that would create communities that were strong. And that would create cities and states that were strong. And then we'd have a strong country.
Again.
Right. Europe knows that. There are places in Europe that are, entire provinces that are closer knit than people are in their own blocks, in their own neighborhoods.
Yeah, true story.
And it's just appalling to me. I've lived where I've lived for, quite a while now, before the new house. And I knew two neighbors, and I was always out there trying to help and do things for other people. And
the rest gave you cause not to like any more than two neighbors.
Well, that's true,
and the two neighbors ultimately gave you cause to not like the two neighbors.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But I still tried. When one was in an accident, I made a pot of gravy and meatballs and a box of spaghetti and brought it over there so the husband wouldn't have to cook dinner. I did that. And then when the other neighbor's car broke down, got up before him and left them to go get it so they wouldn't be late for work that day. But when
something happens to us and we need something, nowhere to be found, tumbleweeds.
That's right. I had a neighbor who actually worked in the hospital where I had my son.
Yeah, right across the street.
That's right. And I needed a ride home a particular day. I stayed a little bit too long visiting with him. And the person wouldn't do it. And lived right across the street from me. Yeah. And, so that's the world we live in today. We don't live in that world. I'm hoping to God that there's places like in the Midwest, maybe in down south still, where communities are like I remember.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I don't know any here. I mean, I felt I used to live on the Upper East Side, and I felt more neighborly and community there than I do outside of the city.
Right.
And now we've bought a place with acreage, so we don't see our neighbors, so that's good for me. I don't want to anymore. our Taylortown compound is going to be what we want, and it's going to be secure, and if you don't like it, stay out. That's it. And that's it. Because we have no choice. And I believe a couple years ago, something had happened, and, I told my meeps on my Facebook about it, how I felt really bad that situation had happened because it changed us as people and how we lived. Remember? We had a stalking incident. Something happened that kind of, threatened our security publicly. Mm-hmm. That we didn't feel, Tristan wasn't around yet, so we didn't feel our daughter was safe because of the information that was brought out or whatever it was.
Right.
And they divulged our address or something like that. And it made me feel somehow that I'd never, I've always lived an open door policy. Hell, we didn't even lock our doors growing up, and I grew up in New Jersey, right? And, and then I moved rural, outside of the city, in the city. They locked themselves, the apartments, but, I never felt unsafe in the city, and then where I moved next after the city, I still didn't lock my door, until that kind of incident happened. Mm-hmm. And then, we started to say, well, you know what? Now we're going to have crazy people and things, we're going to have our fans, we're going to have our not so fans, and we have to, be more aware of our own personal security kind of thing. And I think I mourned that for almost a week at one point, that we couldn't be like we were anymore. And I couldn't have an open door policy, and I couldn't just, have somebody come up to me and start talking to me and be open with them.
Yeah, you, I think, treated the whole thing a lot more sheltered. I, on the other hand, expect that stuff from people all the time, have for a good number of years, and none of that stuff surprised me. And it still doesn't. It hasn't changed my outlook at all. I've seen this coming.
Right, I know. Well, it did me. It's that whole kind of my innocence was lost that day kind of thing.
Right.
And I think that upset you more than anything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I know. So, and it's unfortunate. Because now even, people that you would pay to help you and look out for you, you can't trust either.
Absolutely not.
That old adage, it's hard to get good help nowadays, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
I've had people that have worked for me and couldn't be trusted.
Recently, a number of parties and stuff that we've gone to in the city here with some friends of ours, they have actually taken to hiring former Secret Service as security for their parties and get-togethers and events.
Oh, that's true.
And I was talking to some of these Secret Service guys, of course, because, I smoke.
That's right. So he goes outside and
So I go outside and smoke. So, of course, I'm going to talk to the Secret Service guys, and they tell me about, what administrations they used to work for and how long and all the cool stuff they used to do and this, that, and the next thing. It's really good stuff. But, it kind of hit me. Wow. We got friends who use Secret Service for security now because they can't trust private security companies even.
Wow,
because
that's
private security companies hire from where? Out there in the wacky public. And yeah, they have background checks. And yeah, you have this, that, and the next thing. You can never be sure.
That's right.
So, they've taken to hiring these former Secret Service agents that, they're from the old guard. You can expect that there's some
that
modicum
feeling
of
safety there that they don't have nowadays. Right.
But, it just hit me kind of then that, wow, that it's gone to that level now.
Right. I remember that. And I you didn't tell me who that was until after we'd left and we were driving. We got stuck in the Lincoln Tunnel, too, for like 3.5 hours after that particular party. I remember that.
3.5 days.
That's right. I remember that now. It was like 4 a.m, too. And, we had nothing else to talk about. And I was like, oh, who's that guy we're talking? And then you told me that. Mm-hmm. I remember that. And I remember saying that was a good idea and I hope you got his number, that kind of thing. But,
mm-hmm. But the point is that, we have terrorist attacks within our own borders. It's really no surprise to that end that you find out your friends are hiring Secret Service to cover their parties and events and things. But when you really stop and think about it, you got to stop and think about that and look at the bigger picture. And what is that bigger picture? Well, it's the state of our own country.
Right.
Why is that threat level so high?
True enough.
You know.
And on a more relatable level, I've gone, we walk around our old neighborhood now, not the new one, because like I said, we don't see our neighbors in the new one. But we used to walk around the block of our old neighborhood and everything. And, there were often times when, there were things that would make me question, and, I'd want to call and make sure the person was okay or do stuff like that, and that's so rare in this world today, too.
Absolutely.
But
then 9 times out of 10, when you actually do that, they give you dirty looks because it ain't your business.
Right. Well, that's true, too. And that's the thing, right? You try and be a good person and do the right thing and have concern for your fellow, neighbors and things like that. And it's resented instead of appreciated.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. True enough.
So, long story short, Trump will buy your vote, $20,000 each. Go see him.
No, he's kidding. Trump doesn't need your money, but he does need your support because I'm telling you, if you want this country fixed, if you're, one of those politically correct vegan fluid people, then, well, I guess you won't like Trump very much unless you want to see your country fixed. Look, he's not trying to get rid of anybody. He loves everybody. It's not about that. So let's not turn that into, let's not turn it into that. Just because he's a Republican doesn't mean that, all of a sudden everything's going to change and, we're going to go on a witch hunt for anybody who's not traditional and blah, 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 blah. But I think there's going to be a slow evolution, though, back towards the values that made this country strong and made this country great.
It's like you said on many a Straight Talk before, it's a pendulum, and it only swings so far one way before it comes crashing back, and you can't stop it.
It has to. It's been a certain way since the beginning of time. And there's a reason for that, And in the 70s, there was this great push and this great change. And did it make anything better, really? And again, unless you're under 30 or 35 now, I guess.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. But you really, I guess you wouldn't know. And that's the thing that sucks,
Absolutely.
So, but it was a lot better then, before. It really was.
Mm-hmm.
My kids can't go out and play in the tree houses and run around the block and go down the block till I call them for dinner. God help us.
Right.
So. All right, well.
Well, gang, we are out of time. I want to thank, of course, HTLA Radio 1, New York's besttalk.com for having us. And, this is the first of many now. We're kicking off the new season.
Yeah, season 6. It's so exciting, and I hope you'll join us. We're going to have some great guests. We're going to be doing some premieres. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff. But first and foremost, it is about what matters. We want to know what matters to you, too. If you want a topic to discuss, you want guests, let us know. Let us know. We'll try and facilitate it. We're magic makers.
Absolutely. And you can do that by hitting the old Contact Us page at newyorksbesttalk.com.
That's right.
And, of course, the aforementioned Twitters and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Just find us on the Facebook. That's right.
Yeah. What she said. Yeah.
Well, yes. I'd like to thank HTLA Radio 1 for allowing us to bring you the issues that matter with the people to whom they matter most. That's you too,
Oh, yeah.
And for keeping us on the air for 6 seasons. Wow. And allowing us these eye-opening interactions with the most fabulous people, and that means you too.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also grateful for those that don't agree with us, because there has to be 2 sides to make a whole. So don't forget that too.
That's true.
A huge thank you to our supporters and sponsors. And, of course, we're nothing without you, our listeners. Last but not at all least, thank you to my producer, co-host, and husband. You are the creator of everything and the constructor of my dreams, Christopher John Taylor.
There you go.
Now, be sure to be here next Monday, Meeps, because you never know who's going to show up on Straight Talk to talk straight. Do some straight talking of your own, and we can't kill the hypocrisy of political correctness until we all start talking straight.
There you go.
See you next time. Good night.
Good night. where that is. That's right. You got it there last night. Monday night was your Straight Talk on HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk, of course. And we're rolling in that new season, and of course with that new season comes a whole bunch of new shows as always, and be sure to stand by your radio knobs tonight. That's right, 8 p.m. Eastern, you'll be getting your dish up of... What do you think it is? Well, the new show, I should say the Tuesday new show. Got a new show rolling out in addition to this one every single day of the week this week. That's right, Diminished Capacity. It's coming out tonight at 8 o'clock, and you're going to like this one. This one kind of takes to tasks the companies we all know and love that, well, they just can't seem to get together no matter what they do. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing. And what do we got today on this show? Well, it is Tuesday, so let's pump some adrenaline into this show today. We've got all kinds of goodness today. Well, of course, except for the weather. Yes, it's bad, and we don't just mean Frankie McDonald. No. Stories we're following today include shots fired at soldiers in Mississippi, and the Earth's most powerful storm of the year is roaring across the Pacific right now as we speak. Also today, a new study says workplace air conditioning is comfy for men, but not women? Okay. Sure. Whatever. Now we got Obamacare news, of course. Yes, Obamacare reduces maximum out-of-pocket costs, sure, but not enough for most. We got that for you. Other stories today include another soldier spurned by the Army. Well, he dies of an apparent suicide. His claims of child sex abuse against ex-British Prime Minister Edward Heath arise. Oh, yes, there's so much going on today, and we've got so much more for you. So, hey, come on in and grab that cup, have a seat, light one up. It's coffee time. There you go. That's right. It is 5:02 p.m. Eastern in the big city of New York right now. Of course, at HTLA Studio 2 right here in downtown Manhattan. Yes, ground zero, as it were, on the Times Square. Coming to you live from Studio 2. It is the one, the only coffee and cigarettes for your listening pleasure this afternoon. And we got a lot of stuff for you today, but not the least of which is, yes, the one, the only, Kissy. I keep wanting to say Chrissy Springer, but then I'm like, no, I'm jamming in me, and no, it's Kissy Springer. She's in the booth today, pushing the buttons and making the show go as always. And of course, she's pushing the buttons on that PreSonus 2442 digital broadcast mixer we use here. And man, if you want to get into looking at all kinds of pretty flashy lights and just happen to also have the best in digital and analog audio gear you can get for the money, pound for pound, dollar for dollar, it's PreSonus.com. Yes, check them out at PreSonus.com today. Buy some stuff with pretty lights. Also, this show is brought to you by the fine folks at Tim Hortons, New York City, now with those 8 fine locations in the city to serve all of your coffee and baked goods needs. That's right, Tim Hortons. You won't find any video cameras in their bathroom, but they are always fresh. And, of course, a final reminder, because I apparently don't drop our social media links or our internet links enough on this show. They keep telling me. So, hey, whip on by NewYorksBestTalk.com. Check out the funky, sexy site and visit the show page. Hey, because then you'll see all of our old shows. You get to hear all of our old shows. You get to hear all of our new shows. You could even listen to this show there. It's great. Yeah. NewYorksBestTalk.com. Get on over there. Hit the shows page, will you? There you go. Now, moving along today, I don't do this show alone, although many people say that I do, including one Apocalypse. Yes, he believes I'm just the one man behind the entire thing, and if that's the case, then God, I'm good. Absolutely. But no, we have guest/co-host, of course, our first coming to us live from the beautiful Millbay Film and Television Production Studios in downtown Millbay, British Columbia, Canada, is the one, the only retired 35-time Academy Award-nominated director, but never won. The one and only Louis Lawless. Are you there, sir?
We're 5 steps away from winning the Academy Award.
Right.
And we didn't.
No, but that's fine. It's fine because, if that was, indeed the case, and you didn't, but you could have, and you almost, but you didn't, had you actually did, well, then, of course, we wouldn't, have the joy of having you on the show here. So
it's just life, and I love doing it. I love doing these kind of stories anyway.
Okay, good. Well, it's good to have you as always. And
can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no.
That was a mistake on my part.
Well, it's okay. Just don't let it happen again. Yes, and that lovely noise. Yes. Coming to us from about 8 blocks down the street here in beautiful downtown Manhattan is, of course, the one, the only Gilbert Gottfried. Do you have it together today?
What the fuck?
Well, gotta ask.
I'm ready.
Well, I know you might be ready. Are you? You got it down today? Are you? Are you actually ready to give us your intro? Do you think? Maybe.
And this is I f***ed that up.
Right. Okay. See, and you wonder why I ask. Yeah. Well, thanks for being here today, gentlemen.
Yes.
It's great to have you as always, and of course, we're going to do a little extra shout out today.
Yes.
Yeah. Apparently, the fine folks at the Keurig Coffee Making Company are new fans of the show.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they're doing their likes and shout-outs and all that good stuff on Facebook. So, we have to give a shout-out to them because, damn it, I like their gear. Yeah. So, Keurig coffee makers, if you don't have one, go get one. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say about that. Yeah.
Always with a female and having a relationship, married or single, it's always better that they do the leaving. If you do the leaving, it creates that lingering thing. You know what I mean?
Well, I kind of do. On one hand, I can certainly kind of see that, but on the other hand,
yes,
I don't know. It's just that kind of. I'm in the middle of the road on that one, Louis. Yeah. I'm just gonna. Yeah.
I'm here with my co-host. He is a writer, producer, director, and comedian who is responsible for some of the most successful and profitable movies of the last 15 years.
Oh, yeah?
He's also produced television. I'm running out of room on this card already.
Well, Gilbert, I gotta say,
yes.
That's wonderful, but who's your co-host? That's what I don't know.
How many different families do you have?
Yeah, Gilbert, how many do you have? There you go. See, I knew he was actually talking to you this time.
Yes.
Yeah, isn't that great? I love that.
My film, Unrepented, did very well in Europe.
Yes, Louis, it sure did in 2009. Yes.
$88,000 a year they make, approximately average. 80.
Well, that's kind of what you're going to get with those City Works guys. Yeah. Just what you're going to get. Well, hey, moving on today, I also want to do some shout-outs, of course, to the HTLA live chat room, of course. Sharon Chesley from Texas, apparently a new listener, Billy Badass. Yeah. Of course, the one, the only Phil DeYoung is on there today. Listener is on there today. Well, listener's on there every day, even if listener isn't on. We do have listeners, so,
yes.
Yeah. It's all the same thing. So listener is here. Yeah,
we're proud to say he's a fan of this very podcast.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Of course, also HTLA's first lady, the one, the only Devlon Crawford. Yes, and she's, she's not like Greg Howe.
Yes.
Of course, when the very first birthday party show we did for Greg Howe, well, we all know how that ended up.
Yes.
But, no, of course, we did one for Dev, and it was great. We,
yes.
We had well-wishers from everywhere. What was it? R. Kelly, I think he did a song for. Wasn't
yes.
that Happy Birthday, Bitch, I think? Yeah, so he did that, and of course we had the Syrian Islamic ISIS leader.
Yes.
Of course, with his 5-minute message to Devlon about how he's going to kill her, and yeah.
You know how to spell my last name on the check, right? It's Louis Lawler.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And welcome to the show again today, all you folks in the live chat room that are here religiously every day now. I got to say it's like I don't know. It's like you can count on them or something.
Yes.
But, they're all here today, as always, for the big show, and that's a good thing, because otherwise it would just be me sitting here with my little soundbite guys. Yeah. So instead of just sitting here with my soundbite guys and annoying anybody who might listen, right, we'll move on with some of the stories we got today, because, of course, we do have a lot to cover.
Yes.
And
that was a mistake on my part.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Louis, for that great add-in to an already lost punchline. Yeah. All right, well, moving on today, of course, big news topping the stories of the hour.
Yes,
is shots fired at soldiers in Mississippi today, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, actually. Authorities are searching for 2 suspects accused of firing shots just before noon today at a group of soldiers at Camp Shelby Joint Forces Training Center. The soldiers training at the state-owned military post reported hearing shots fired at 11:45 this morning along Parrott Tower Road near the training facility. The post is secure and all personnel are accounted for and unharmed, the Mississippi National Guard said in a news release today. Lieutenant Colonel Christian Patterson, Director of Public Affairs for the Mississippi National Guard, could not confirm whether specific soldiers were targeted, but he said shots were fired as a distinctive truck, a 2-door red Ford Ranger with Broken Arrow written across the top. Yes, drove it drove by the base. It drove by the base and shot bang bang. Yes, yes, across the top. It drove past the base while soldiers were in the area. The suspects are 2 white males who allegedly fled from the vehicle. Wow. Okay, I get it now. Do you get it now? Yeah. Oh. Okay. Yes, those 2 white males who allegedly fired from the vehicle and then fled, says Perry County Sheriff Jimmy Dale Smith. Deputies discovered a vehicle matching the description, one of the driven by the alleged shooters at a residence in Perry County, and are there now. Smith said any suspects who may be inside could be charged with anything from simple assault to aggravated assault. Members of the Forest County Sheriff's Department and the U.S. Forestry Commission are assisting in the search. The U.S. Forestry Commission.
Yes.
Gee, Yogi, I don't think the Ranger's gonna like this. Well, the giant military base south of Hattiesburg is hosting about 4,600 active duty soldiers, National Guard and reservists from Texas and Mississippi in a summer training exercise. This summer's training focuses on coordinated efforts of individual soldiers acting as a platoon, which can vary in size but normally boasts 30-plus members. Actually, I believe the technical actuality is 32, thank you.
Yes.
Well, the exercise is called Exportable Combat Training Capability, began mid-July and will continue through mid-August. Camp Shelby officials were also hosting a field hearing Tuesday for the National Commission of the Future of the Army. The commission is an independent, congressionally mandated panel directed to assess Barack Obama's recommendations for restructuring the Army's active duty and reserve forces. Yeah, so see, this is all a stunt by Obama to say that we don't need an army now. We just don't need one. Well, moving on today, you think that's bad. Now we're getting into the weather, and no, I don't mean Frankie McDonald.
Yes.
No. No, gang, we got a big frickin' problem, and its name is Jim. Yeah. Well, actually, technically, that's just the name I gave it. I don't know if its actual name is Jim.
Yeah.
But hey, mark my words, we'll find out. You betcha. Well, Earth's most powerful storm of the year is roaring across the Pacific Ocean right now. Yes, food, water, cots, generators, and other federal emergency supplies are being rushed today from Hawaii and Guam to help Saipan after the Earth's most powerful storm of 2015, Super Typhoon Sulador, blasted through the tiny U.S. island in the western Pacific. Yeah, Frankie didn't tell us about that one. Well, the storm continued its violent march through the Pacific Ocean and sustained winds of nearly 150 miles an hour and gusts of 184, the equivalent of a Category 4 hurricane, the Joint Typhoon Warning Center said today. The storm's winds dropped slightly during the day on Tuesday, down from 160 miles an hour. The typhoon is taking aim at Taiwan now, China, and some of Japan's southern islands, though it's expected to weaken even further by the time it reaches land, the center said. When I asked them about it gaining strength over the ocean, they, of course, said, well, yes, Crash, normally you're correct, but for some reason it's not going to be as bad, Category 7. Yes. I think they're just saying that so that people don't freaking panic. Well, there is growing concern that Taiwan and the South Ryukyu Islands will have to contend with Sulador as early as Thursday night or Friday, with impacts lasting into nearly next week across China. Yes, the storm is so bad it's going to knock you into next week. That's one bad storm. That's what I'm talking about right there.
I lived in Greenwich Village for a while when I first started out as an actor.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, and now you're in Mill Bay, of course.
Yes.
So, let's see. Greenwich Village, Mill Bay is about 3,200 miles.
Yes.
Okay, and then Louis Point, and where the actual hurricane is, it's about 8,000 miles. So... Yes, into next week across eastern China, says AccuWeather meteorologist Eric Leister. The latest forecast from the Typhoon Center shows the storm making landfall in Taiwan Friday with winds estimated at 144 miles an hour, which is equivalent to a Category 4 hurricane. Across the mountainous terrain of northern and western Taiwan, more than 20 inches of rain is likely, AccuWeather said. This amount of rainfall can trigger mudslides and produce widespread flash flooding. The storm slammed into Saipan, one of the northern Mariana Islands, at 48,000 population, U.S. Commonwealth, Sunday and Monday, with winds of 105 miles an hour. It flooded the island's power plant, ripped off roofs, and toppled power poles. The Pacific Daily News in Guam reported hundreds of Saipan residents are in shelters. Some roads remain impassable, and power and water services are out. No fatalities were reported, but at least 10 people were treated at the government hospital for injuries, including wounds and deep cuts from falling or flying debris. Acting Governor Ralph D.L.G. Torres declared a state of disaster and significant emergency there Monday. Also said, "Thank you very much, Frankie McDonald." Well, most power and phone lines are down, with no power or landline service to most of the island, says Philip Duderman. He told the Pacific Daily News he estimated it could take months for power to be restored across the island. At its peak, Sulador was the strongest storm anywhere on the planet so far this year. Typhoons... What the hell is that noise? That was weird. Did you hear that, Gilbert?
Yes.
Wow, it's like for a second there we were actually hearing Sulador. All right, well, luckily it wasn't. At its peak, Sulador was the strongest storm anywhere on the planet so far this year. Typhoons are the Western Pacific's version of hurricanes. Sulador is a Porphyrian word for a legendary chief or ruler, according to the National Weather Service. Ponifian is a language spoken in the island of Ponifi in the Caroline Islands. Bet you didn't know that one. Yeah. So, of course, Twitter is going nuts with this. We got reports all over the place about this. But do you think Frankie McDonald's got it? No. No, he doesn't have it. I can guarantee you that. Yeah.
And I finally figured out how to edit.
No, that's good. Yes, the man who taught me film and television production from start to finish, A to Z, including editing 27 years ago, finally figured that out. Okay. Well, we're going to go for that first commercial break actually on time. Holy crap.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't you worry, though. When we come back, we got a new study out that says workplace air conditioning is apparently comfy for men, but not women. Yeah. I don't know. Go figure. But we'll get to that back in 2.
You've got it locked to HTLA Radio 1, New York.
What if there was a coffee that was sourced from some of the world's most renowned growing regions, abundant with rich, fertile soil? What if this coffee was picked at the perfect moment, then packed meticulously and shipped carefully to be roasted under the watchful eye of coffee masters? What if it was expertly blended, ground, and sealed, ensuring maximum flavor and freshness, then brewed in small batches and always served fresh within 20 minutes, just the way you like it? Now, what if this coffee just happened to be the coffee you already know and love? Tim Hortons. Always fresh. Always great tasting coffee.
Automatic freshness, softness, and static control has never been easier with the Bounce Dryer Bar. I just stick it to the inside of my dryer, and I never have to remember.
Old Spice Body Spray makes you smell like power! It's so powerful it sells itself in other people's commercials. You smell like outdoor freshness.
You smell like power.
Yeah, I do. Power! Power!
When we arrived at our hotel in New York, the porter was so incredibly careless with our bags. And the room they gave us, it was beautiful. A broom closet. But the worst part was the shower. My wife drying herself with the Egyptian cotton towels. Shower curtain defined that whole vacation for her. Don't just visit New York. Visit TripAdvisor New York.
With millions of reviews, a visit to TripAdvisor makes any destination better.
White Rum has a new captain. Introducing the all-new Captain Morgan White Rum. 5 times distilled for a smoother taste.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
You know what I remember about a story about Pee Wee Herman at Caroline's when it was like in the 20s at one point.
Yeah.
And you had to walk across the club. I hate those when you got to walk to go to the men's room. You got to squeeze through the audience. And, you know, he couldn't keep his head down and just hide because he's got, like, you see Pee Wee Herman from 10 miles away. So he used to keep a jar with him.
Oh, yes, the good old HTLA Radio 1 and P.P. Herman.
Yes.
That's right. Well, you know, I hear tell you do a bang-up Seinfeld. I think mine's better.
Hey, can I see your dick?
So you want to see my dick? It's fun talking about dick, isn't it? Yeah?
Yes.
I think it is. Yeah.
You know why, Chris? Because you're such a control freak. You don't want anyone to tell you what to do.
That's right. I'm the one who tells people to show me their dicks. Well, welcome back to the big show, of course. It is your coffee and cigarettes this afternoon. Yes, your Tuesday Espresso for this 4th of August, 2015. 90 degrees right now, Central Park, sunny skies. You should turn this crap off and get out there. Yeah. But, a lot of people won't turn it off.
Yes.
Even if I told them they won't turn it off, I guess I'm not a control freak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I got lost. H-T-L-A. Oh, H-T-L-A.
Yeah, you got it. You're fine. You're fine. You're actually on HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk. That's right. Did you know that, Louie?
The music is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to hear it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it just ended.
Yeah.
We kind of got that there, but thank you very much for all of that. It was just incredible.
Everything that could go wrong goes wrong. Yeah.
Well, it kind of does, especially where Louie's concerned. Yeah. All right, so moving on today. Yes,
yes.
Got some more stories. And, of course, before the break there, we did tell you about the workplace air conditioning study that's just out today. It says it's comfy for men, but not women, and I'm really kind of curious to know about that. I'm thinking it must have something to do
yes.
with the nipple reaction on women. I think... No, I think it is, because, you throw on AC for a man, and you sit him in a chair, right in front of the thing, and he's fine.
Yes.
But of course, you do that to a woman, and, I don't know. No, I don't think it has anything to do with the positioning at all, but those nips get hard, So I think that...
Which woman are you married to or living with now?
I'm actually... oh, damn it. What's the goddamn name now?
Yes.
I don't know. Bobby Brown's little girl. I don't know. I'm not sure. But before we get to that workplace air conditioning story and find out in-depth analysis for you, the HTLA listener, is it the nipples? Yes, before we do that, of course, we do have to go to your HTLA Coffee and Cigarettes traffic report from our one and only Mr. Brock Favors. Brock, take it away.
Hello, everybody out there. This is Brock Favors with traffic on the ones. Chad Armstrong is out sick today, so I am filling in for my usual land reports, and I'm up here in the chopper, but I got to tell you guys, I am loving the view. Oh, my God! Oh, no, stop! Oh! Whew. All right. Well, we are over the 10. It is massively clogged down there like a pint of maple syrup on a cool November morning. And we do, oh, goddamn, we're gonna die in this mother. Yeah. Oh, my God. Woo.
Help me, Oprah Winfrey.
Okay, I am very sorry, folks. It's a little bit of a bumpy ride up here. We are now approaching the 405, where the left lane is blocked by a mattress. So somebody is going to be doing a little return to IKEA later today. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no, please! Oh, goddamn! Oh, get me out this motherfucking death machine right now! Oh, no, black people ain't meant to be in the sky! We ain't meant to be in the sky, man! Oh, mama, help me, mother... Oh, mama! But a 405 is up right now. Ain't nobody going down this. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry, folks. I'm very sorry, but I'm losing my up here.
Actually, you have every right to. We're about to crash.
And, of course, as always, HTLA would like to extend its condolences to the Favors family. There we go. So that was your traffic for today.
Yes.
Now we're going to move on right quickly to, of course, the one, the only HTLA meteorologist, Frankie McDonald, with today's weather. Perhaps he might mention something about the storm that the entire planet is watching, maybe? Well, you never know. Stranger things have happened.
Yes.
Yeah. So now we take you to Frankie with your coffee and cigarettes weather. Frankie.
This is Frankie McDonald, my own team station live in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Major storm is headed towards Houston, Texas on Tuesday, June 16th, 2015. It's going to bring up to 50-plus millimeters of rain, especially on Tuesday evening. It's going to bring a lot of flooding into windy conditions. It's going to rain sideways and wind-driven rain. Center tropical disturbance is moving northward to the Gulf of Mexico. That's going to bring a ton of rain in Houston, Texas, Galveston, Texas, and the surrounding communities as well. It's going to bring a lot of rain. It's going to bring windy conditions, and the sewers will back up in the streets. It's going to bring a lot of heavy rain in Houston, Texas, and the surrounding areas on. And the heavy rain will continue on to Wednesday, June 17th, 2015 in Houston, Texas, and Galveston, Texas, and Tuesday, June 16th, 2015 will not be a good day to do your outdoor activities.
What about pizza?
Because it's going to be a lot of rain. I want people in Houston, Texas to clean out the storm drains before a major storm with a lot of rain to hit Houston, Texas on Tuesday, June 16th, 2015. Especially during evening hours, it's going to bring a lot of rain, windy conditions, and sideways rain in Houston, Texas, and Tuesday, June 16th, 2015 into Wednesday, June 17th, 2015 will not be a good day to head to the beach and go swimming in Galveston, Texas, since it's going to be a lot of rain in Houston, Texas on Tuesday,
Galveston,
June 16th, 2015, which is 6 to 10 inches of rain as well.
Mm-hmm.
Big boy, Houston, Texas.
Get Coke?
Big prepared.
Yeah.
Have your rug boots ready for raincoats ready for raincoats ready. When you go for a walk, wear your rain gear, wear your rug boots, wear your raincoats to keep you dry.
Yeah.
Don't walk to the puddles. Avoid the puddles when you go for a walk. Order your pizzas and order your Chinese food.
There we go.
Buy cases of Pepsi, buy cases of Coke. Have your iPads charged. Have your iPods charged.
Samsung.
Have your cell phones charged. Have your laptops charged. Have your tablets charged. Have your 3G and 4G ready.
3G?
When you drive the car, don't drive to the puddles.
Puddles will fuck
Avoid
you.
the puddles when you drive the car, since it's going to be a lot of flooding in Houston, Texas on Tuesday, June 16, 2015 into Wednesday, June 17, 2015. Have your flashlights ready. Have your candles ready. Have your crank up radio ready. Have your extra batteries ready. And have your bottled water ready as well. Since it's going to be a lot of flooding in Houston, Texas on Tuesday, June 16, 2015 into Wednesday, June 17, 2015.
Okay.
If everybody living in Houston, Texas,
Yeah.
big prepare for
Oh.
a major storm on Tuesday, June 16, 2015.
Okay.
Best of luck to you. People in Houston, Texas, big prepare for
Yeah, puddles. Yeah.
major
Okay.
storm on Tuesday, June 16th,
Major.
2015.
15.
Especially during evening hours.
Got it.
Stay dry, be safe. Take care.
That was wow. That's something. I
Yes.
Yeah.
He
Well,
needs love, Chris. Come on.
I'm not giving him any goddamn love. Kid needs to be put in some home somewhere. Some special place. And of course, you know, thanks to the CEO of HTLA, he'd do well in our closet with a 19-inch monitor. Yeah. That's what it is. That's what we need. Thanks a lot, HTLA.
Yes.
Yeah. And what's while we're on the subject, by the way, not against the NAACP or affirmative action or anything. No. No, far be it for me, because I would never, ever do anything like that.
Yes.
It's just not in my...
That was a mistake on my part.
Yeah, it's Louis. He's the bigot. Yeah. No, but I mean, no offense to Kissy Springer there,
Yes.
but, I have this beautiful white-skinned blonde girl in the booth pushing the buttons I get to look at every day.
Yes.
When that whole Confederate flag controversy was going on, she wore the bikini every day to work.
Yes.
And then I somehow magically scare her off into a life of porn. Right? And then, I get this black girl, that I've got to train from zero.
Yes.
And nothing against Kissy. She's a nice girl. She does her voiceovers there for the New York's best, yada, yada, yada.
Yes.
Yeah, she does those for us and stuff. And she's a good intern and all the rest of that good stuff. But, I mean, she's just not the same kind of cake to look at in the window,
Sex is only the tip of the iceberg.
Well, I know, but, I don't want the rest of the iceberg if I can't have the sex, Louis. I'm sorry. I don't think that's fair, and I'm just not having it.
Yes.
No. So, but, oh, geez, wow. Well, there's nothing I can do. I'm just a lowly host. Right. I get it.
You know how to spell my last name on the check, right? It's Louis Lawler.
Right, Louis, yeah.
Can you give me any help for $25,000?
That wasn't in your contract. No.
All right, go a half an hour. Do I get $50,000?
See, why are you trying to negotiate with me? I just said that wasn't in your contract, and I didn't write your contract, so don't look at me. I don't have your contract, and I'm not saying anything. So there.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, in any way, shape, or form, I'm stuck with Frankie McDonald, it seems, and Kissy, and my life is just hell.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I get that. It's fine. I'm okay with it. I'm just going to...
Same thing.
It really is. It's the same thing, Gilbert, over and over every bloody day. It is. But that's okay. I'm going to just continue on like a professional that I am. And
now I have to bring up that piece of trivia that everyone feels like they're telling people that they don't know.
No, don't do that. No, just don't, because it's just stuff that they already know.
Yes.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
See, now I've done Howard Stern 15,000 times. I can't even get a Chuckles Comedy Club.
Well, Chuckles Comedy Club is one thing,
yes.
But of course, the big bucks is in the KFC commercials. That's where the big bucks is. So don't even worry about that. And who the hell cares about Stern anyway? What are you? Nice little drop you threw in there.
Yes.
Yeah. That was great. Well, really, Gilbert, shut the hell up. We have to move on.
Yeah.
Okay. And moving on today, of course, our next story is that workplace air conditioning study that's out that says it's comfy for men but not for women. I'm not quite understanding this myself, so I'll be learning along with the rest of you. There you go. All right. No wonder so many women at their desks bundle up like polar explorers.
Yes.
Apparently, across the USA, climate control systems are designed to account for the amount of body fat given off by the average man, even though a female office worker produces far less body heat than male workers. According to researchers writing in this week's Nature Climate Change, the lower heat production or metabolic rate of women generally means they require a warmer environment, says study author biophysicist Boris Kingma of Maastricht University Medical Center in, of course, the Netherlands. If you create a building that cools a room for somebody with a higher metabolism, then you put somebody in there with a lower metabolism, that person will definitely start using a heater or turn up the thermostat. The study itself is generating some heat among outside scientists who disagree with the conclusions, but the study's authors contend that this gender discrimination of the thermostat... What? Yes, you heard that right, folks. Gender discrimination of the thermostat. Apparently, it dates back decades. Yes, back all the way till when women first came into the workplace. Oh, okay. Well, maybe get the hell home, get in the goddamn kitchen, and, yeah. Well, Kingma tested the metabolic rate of female students by having them don sweatpants and T-shirts and sit in an experimental chamber. On average, the students' rate was up to one-third lower than male rates used to calculate influential building temperature targets. Those temperature targets, published by the American Society of Heating, Refrigerating, and Air Conditioning Engineers, call for interiors to be cooled to 73 to 79 degrees in the summer, and are widely observed by engineers and building managers in North America. If the targets incorporated the female metabolic rate rather than the male-based rate, the recommended temperature for women would be roughly 2 to 4 degrees higher, Kingma says. I can only speculate on why the targets have ignored women for the last few decades, he says. I don't think it's on purpose. Yeah. Kinda. Well, the new study is significant because it provides further evidence that females, on average, do feel cooler than males, says Pekka Tumala, a researcher at the VTT Technical Research Center of Finland. Oh, now we get the Finns involved. Yes, he was not involved in the new study directly, but said via email, if climate control systems accounted for women, energy might be saved, and women would be more comfortable. He said, well, I'll go you even one better there, Finn.
Yes.
Why don't we take all the men out of the workplace, just have it be women, and they can shut the F up? How about that? Well, we do that. I'm sure, us men, we'll sit at home in the Barca loungers and watch football all day. That's, We can do this.
They get crazy because all of a sudden nobody loves them.
Right. Well, other researchers, however, point out simple things like a necktie to explain why women freeze at their desks all summer. The authors are probably correct that women have a lower metabolic rate, says Texas A&M University's Dr. Charles Culp, a specialist in building physics. However, there are many factors that are really hard to nail down. Yeah, the first one I'm thinking of is ambient temperature. Okay, so you got the AC unit or whatever, your HVAC. Ooh, let's get all sexy and technical. And, okay, so you got your HVAC, and you're like, oh, okay, well, you have to also account for things like, geez, if you're trying to maintain climate in a building of 500, 1,500 people, what have you, people are people, and women are human. Okay, so humans have this body temperature regulation thing that keeps us as nice 98.6 or something, right? Okay, so what you actually have to do is you have to calculate the amount of people in the building at any given point in time and account for the heat emanating from their bodies because, of course, we give off heat.
Yes.
And then you calculate that in the whole mess, and then you figure, oh, hell, just turn it down to 70.
That was a mistake on my part.
Okay, yes, we'll blame Louis for the environmental problems facing women workers all over the world. Yes. Well, for example, women tend to adapt their clothing to summer weather more than men do. Amen, sister, ain't that the truth? That's right, and Bjarne Olsen of the Technical University of Denmark. Yes, let's throw Denmark in there. Hell, do you got any Vikings while we're at it? Yeah? Technical University of Denmark, of course, who helped draft the temperature targets. He also points to experiments showing that men and women actually prefer the same temperatures when wearing the same clothes and performing the same activities. Okay. Kingver responds that those same experiments show that women are more sensitive to slight temperature variations because of the different metabolic rate and or body composition and or both. But even men can find themselves shivering in air conditioning set to Arctic. Apparently what we should be really worrying about is not these gender differences, but the fact that we're overcooling buildings in the summer, says Gail Brager, Associate Director of the Center for the Built Environment at the University of California, Berkeley. It's wasting a lot of energy and creating problems with thermal comfort for everyone. That's a much bigger problem to solve. Well, turn the damn thing up or down.
Yes.
Okay, well, there you go. That's the big air conditioning study that HTLA Radio 1 New York says that I was supposed to have as the third story today. So there you go. You know, I'm not.
No, I don't. Because I asked him. I said, "Well, fly out here and I'll film you."
Oh, the guy from Finland?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And did he bother returning your calls or?
He called me and he called me and he kept calling me and I wouldn't answer the phone.
But I thought you wanted to film him.
You love to do that kind of stuff. You always did.
Well, that's why I went to film school.
It's just life, and I love doing it. I love doing these kind of stories anyway.
Right, so move on. Okay. Well, moving on today, our next story up for bids on the story is so wrong. That's right, Obamacare. Yes, so Obamacare reduces maximum out-of-pocket costs, of course, but not enough for most. Obamacare went a long way towards preventing the insurmountable medical bills that led to a large percentage of U.S. bankruptcies, but for many people, the $6,600 per person per year cap on out-of-pocket costs might as well be $600,000. That's right. It's so unlikely that they could ever pay it. This is the problem many people will never have to worry about. Without a major disease or accident requiring costly special drugs or surgery, very few of us will have enough co-payments and cost-sharing to total $6,600 in any year, much less every year. Now, even fewer families will have so many medical bills that their share will reach $13,200, which is the family maximum for plans purchased on Obamacare exchanges. It's like a hole that has to be filled, says Jose Fernandez, Associate Professor of Economics at the University of Louisville. The whole idea behind it is to make insurance act like insurance rather than a YMCA membership. Yes. Well, traditionally, health insurance paid all sorts of routine care, and the patient just had to chip in with copays, he says. These days, however, patients are being asked to pick up much bigger chunks of the tab. That happens first through deductibles, which are what you pay before the insurance chips in, of course. Out-of-pocket maximums include deductibles as well as copays and co-insurance, but not premiums or cost-sharing. And when you get care out of network, maximums for private plans are often lower than $6,000, sometimes by a lot. They just can't be higher. Well, Christian and J.C. Garcia of Silver Spring, Maryland, have been hard hit by medical bills with their out-of-pocket maximum of $6,350 a year for each family member. Their 20-month-old son, CJ, was born with a rare genetic disorder, Eagle-Barrett syndrome, and has severe scoliosis. He will have his 13th surgery in August, with 2 more to follow in September, all to rebuild his digestive system and urinary tract. Well, God, that's not scoliosis. If he's got that, and that, how about 50 cents for a bullet? Although Christian Garcia earns $60,000 a year as a restaurant manager, the more than $700 monthly insurance premiums that his work plan and other privately purchased plans for his wife and kids, plus other monthly bills like paying the family's share of hospital bills, well, make it impossible. The couple have $11,000 in medical bills they are paying $270 a month on, and bills from 2 other hospitals have gone to collections. Monthly expenses, including the payment on his medical bills, are about equal to his take-home pay of about $3,300 a month. They have sold their wedding rings, moved out of their apartment into Christian's stepfather's home, where they pay $500 a month for rent and share a bedroom with CJ and their baby, Jeremiah, who is 5 months old. Way to go, Obama. Well, because there's a cap on how much people can make to get supplemental security income help with disabled children, Christian Garcia said that he was told the only way that they could get help would be to have 2 more kids. Way to go, Obama. Yes, if your children punch above their weight. you have to be really at a point where you can't live and help yourself anymore, says Christian Garcia. We're trying to do everything the right way, and help cannot be given. Catherine Hampstead, Director of Insurance Coverage at the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, says the Affordable Care Act was supposed to prevent things like this from happening. It doesn't. Patients are responsible for an increasing portion of their health care costs, mostly due to higher deductibles, and also the fact that more health care services are now subject to deductibles, according to the recent RWJF report that Hampstead co-wrote from 2013 through 2014. Patients' share of their cost grew over 9.5% for established patients and 7.9% for new patients since Obamacare. Wow, look at that. So almost a combined 20% increase in your medical care cost thanks to Obamacare. There you go. Well, people with high out-of-pocket medical expenses should keep track of them, Fernandez says, because you can deduct any out-of-pocket medical expenses that exceed 10% of your adjusted gross income, or 7.5% if you and your spouse are over 65. Well, that's something that Garcias would do, but if only they had been able to pay the full annual amount of their bills, and at the rate they are going, they will never be able to do that. Next year, they'll hit CJ's $6,350 maximum cost sharing, so that will be added to the amount they owe for his care. Hampstead says that means the family would be better off with a plan for 2016 with lower cost sharing, even if premiums are higher. I'm not saying there's no room for improvement, but there have been huge strides in taming the insurance market, Hampstead says, of Obamacare. Thank you, President Obama. Yeah, huge strides like 20% increases.
Yes.
There we go. Every day we're knocking a little, we're chipping away. Oh, man. Oh, it's really too bad that he can't get elected for a third term, because he would.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we want more of that. Num. Well, moving on today, we got, we're getting into a little bit more of a serious note.
Yes.
Yeah, so shut the hell up. Yes, of course, it's another soldier spurned by the Army dies of apparent suicide today, and this is something that we, at HTLA... Okay, well, screw HTLA.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know anything about HTLA anymore. They've got Frankie, they've got Kissy, and I just feel so unloved. But anyway, there's 22,000 servicemen deaths every day to suicide. 22,000.
Yes.
This is just one, but there's 21,999 more. Every freaking day.
Yes.
Well, here we go. For a U.S. Army where failures to treat soldiers with substance abuse problems have been linked to suicides, the Georgia National Guard specialist Stephen Atkins is another tragedy waiting to happen. Scans showing brain scars and his history of seizures, combat blast exposure, and suicide attempts were indisputable evidence that despite erratic behavior that led to punishable infractions, the soldier needed a medical retirement that would offer a smooth transition from the Army to the care of the VA, his lawyer and psychiatrist argued today. But the Army doesn't see it that way. A two-star general with no medical background concluded that the 31-year-old soldier's behavior, drunken driving, speeding, missed appointments, and urinalysis cheating, had nothing to do with the traumatic brain injury or emotional problems that kicked him out of the Army. No, of course not. It was, he just lost on the horses. Yeah. Well, on July 2nd, 6 months after he was expelled, Crystal Atkins found her son dead in the basement bedroom of her home in Austell, Georgia, just west of Atlanta. Victim of an apparent suicide by overdose, according to the police. It totally blew me away, she said, about prying open his bedroom door and finding his body on his bed. I live with this the rest of my life. Well, Atkins' death is the latest in a cast the light on Army's struggles to adequately treat soldiers who suffer drug or alcohol abuse, often as a result of emotional illness or traumatic brain injuries from years of combat. The Army's substance abuse program has declined in quality of care since it shifted to non-medical management in 2010. Another Obama initiative. Yeah. That's right, in 2010. Yes, according to a report we did in March that led to an Army Inspector General's investigation, Army leaders are weighing whether to shift the program back to medical supervision. Since non-medical management took over, 90 soldiers have committed suicide within 3 months of receiving substance abuse treatment. At least 31 suicides followed a substandard treatment, according to records obtained by us from staff members critical to the program. Clinical staffers did not specifically link the deaths to poor care. Army documents show that half the service's 54 substance abuse clinics around the world fall below professional standards. The clinic at Fort Gordon, for example, where Atkins was treated, is among the best in the Army, but among the worst in the professional and private care. Yeah. Well, Patrick Lillard, the psychiatrist counseling Atkins, said the soldier was in desperate need of more help than the Army could provide, and he tried to arrange hospitalization at the Walter Reed National Military Center in Washington shortly before Atkins was to leave the military. The Army issued a statement defending its actions, noting that Atkins had been counseled about his substance abuse and undergone inpatient treatment in 2013 at a Fort Gordon hospital. Despite these efforts, the Army said he continued to abuse drugs. Atkins tested positive for drug use 8 times between... Yes. I wonder, maybe I'm suffering from substance abuse, you know? I don't know. I don't know. That's okay. Well, let's try this paragraph again, maybe in English.
Yes.
Yeah. Atkins tested positive for drug use 8 times between January and November of 2014, the Army statement said, adding that Fort Gordon health officials scheduled one appointment for Atkins with the VA a few days after his discharge. We're not able to confirm whether he attended or not, which means he didn't. Yeah. Lillard said Atkins was in no condition to see after himself at that stage. His last days in the Army were in the hospital, where he was treated for self-inflicted cuts from an attempted suicide. Stevens was not at a stage in his illness where he could manage his own as an outpatient, says Lillard, who has since resigned from the Army program. He and other program critics say that commanders without medical training fail to see substance abuse as a way to cope with war-related trauma. Instead, they're treating the soldiers and commanders who punish them for abuse-related misconduct, such as drunken driving, to force some out of the Army. It's much easier to wipe their hands of it than thinking that the VA is just going to pick up the pieces, says Ryan Pavlou, National Service Director for the Wounded Warrior Project, which has assisted over 75,000 Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. Lillard said there's a continual lingering doubt among command-level people that, hey, this is the same kind of severe disability that would be associated when somebody gets their legs blown off. Atkins joined the Georgia National Guard in 2003 and was sent to Iraq 3 years later, where he was knocked unconscious by roadside bombs and that detonated under the vehicle, according to his medical records. The wound occurred, as IEDs, improvised explosive devices, were becoming the most lethal weapon used against American troops, and military doctors are just learning how the explosions could cause traumatic brain injury. At the time, many troops exposed to explosions were sent back into combat before their brains recovered, risking further and more serious damage from a subsequent blast. Atkins returned to duty without proper evaluation, according to his files. He later served 2 tours in Afghanistan and was exposed to a number of other blasts. Atkins was in training at Fort Stewart, Georgia in 2010 when he suffered a seizure on the firing range and collapsed. It apparently happened again in the barracks later that day, only this time as Atkins fell, he struck his head so hard it caused internal bleeding, and he was rushed to the hospital, according to his records. The soldier was placed on a therapeutic coma to allow brain swelling to decrease, and he nearly died. Lillard, who also is a neurosurgeon, said that Atkins should have received a medical treatment right then. But the soldier was also diagnosed with PTSD, was found fit for duty, and sent forth deployment in Kosovo. It was predictable with Stephen Atkins that something bad was going to happen to him. Well, yes, it was, says Al Lillard. The Army says that they never leave a fallen comrade, but if soldiers come home with brain injuries and PTSD, the Army uses that reason to abandon them. Neurological scans later showed signs of the lesions in areas of the brain that control impulsive behavior and decision-making, easily explaining erratic conduct that included drug and alcohol abuse, Lillard says. Twice, Atkins attempted suicide. The TBI factors of concern include impaired judgment, disinhibition, and very poor control of reactions to stress. He also has an ongoing significant mood disorder with recurrent suicidal ideation, Lillard wrote in a memo to Atkins' lawyer last October. As the soldier faced involuntary separation, this adds up to a very impaired soldier, he says. Despite the evidence assembled by Atkins' lawyer, Captain Colin Nisbet, and Lillard showing that the soldier's emotional and neurological illnesses, a military medical evaluation board found him fit for duty last summer, according to an email drafted by Nisbet. This cleared the way for the Army to kick Atkins out. Then Commander of Fort Gordon, Major General Lauren Patterson, said his own, quote, careful review of Atkins' medical condition showed that it was not a direct or substantial contributing cause of the misconduct. According to a memo the general wrote, a separation board last August validated that conclusion in Patterson's replacement. Major General Stephen Fogarty ordered that Atkins be kicked out of the Army. Atkins remained on active duty status for several days while the doctors at Eisenhower Army Medical Center at Fort Gordon treated him for self-inflicted suicide wounds. It was during this time that Lillard said he tried to arrange Atkins' admittance into the Walter Reed Brain Injury Treatment Facility last November. Lillard said he was told by a supervising doctor that the hospital had an opening the following week if Atkins was still in the Army. Well, a thrilled Atkins called his mother, and he was all excited, she remembers, about that day in November. He said, "Mom, I won't be home next weekend to see you and Granny because I'm going to Walter Reed Medical Center. I'm finally going to get the help I need." But Atkins was released from the hospital and processed out of the Army before any transportation to Walter Reed could be arranged, Lillard said. The Army disputes some of this, saying that Walter Reed told Lillard that the VA could later arrange for Atkins at Walter Reed even if he were just a veteran. Lillard denies that he was ever told this. In the 6 months that followed Atkins' discharge from the Army, he grew isolated from his family, yelled out during his nightmares, and complained about constantly feeling overwhelmed. He actually looked like he was a million miles away, his mother says. Well, as police are investigating his death and are awaiting toxicology reports to determine more precisely what killed him, Crystal Atkins says she struggles with how the Army handled her son, full stop. He wanted to go out there and do something for his country, and this is what he gets in return, she said. I just don't understand why people are like that. They just wanted to get him out. Her son was buried with military honors on July 9th at the Georgia National Cemetery in Canton. Way to go, President Obama. No, and I'm completely serious when I say that.
Yes.
This is the man who in 2007, he promised.
Yes.
Absolutely promised.
Yes.
Looked me in the camera.
Yes.
Looked me in the camera and said, if I'm elected, I will bring all the troops home. All of them. Every single one. Well, I'll tell you, if there was ever a time when a man loved another man... It was then.
Yes.
That's right. I absolutely loved Obama. I voted for him. I wanted him in there. He got in there. Oprah cried.
Yes.
And then what did the little sumbee do? 30 days after his inauguration, sent 75,000 more troops. Well, you don't have to kick me in the balls twice.
Yes.
Nope. Ever since then, yeah, Barack and I, we're just not friends anymore. we don't talk. We don't,
Power tends to corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah, but he was my friend, man. Listen, we're going to go for a nice 2-minute commercial break, but don't you worry. When we come back, we got claims of sexual child abuse. Yeah, sexual child abuse, and it's the British Prime Minister, no less. Yes, all that and so much more on your Tuesday Espresso, so we'll be back in 2.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
Good morning. Welcome to Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop, where fresh always tastes better. What can I make you this morning?
How about our new flatbread breakfast paninis? Made fresh, just for you, with your favorite breakfast ingredients on maple or multigrain flatbread, then grilled to hot, melted perfection. Just $2.99. Who couldn't warm up to that?
Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop, where quality really does meet value.
When we arrived at our hotel in New York, the porter was so incredibly careless with our bags. And the room they gave us, it was beautiful. A broom closet. But the worst part was the shower. My wife drying herself with the
Egyptian cotton towels.
Shower curtain defined that whole vacation for her. Don't just visit New York.
Visit TripAdvisor New York.
With millions of reviews, a visit to TripAdvisor makes any destination better.
Let's do a brand new day. Let's step away from the bland and let the color fly. Let's get to the one store with more number one choices and match this or this without using too much of this. Then, let's crack open a can and get to it. Paint? No. Let's do POW. Let's do this. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Glidden Duo starts at a new lower price of $25.46 a gallon.
Glasses. White Rum has a new captain. Introducing the all-new Captain Morgan White Rum. 5 times distilled for a smoother taste.
You've got it locked to HTLA Radio 1, New York.
Don't forget to follow us on our Facebook page, on Twitter, and on Instagram.
Well, that's right. And no, we're not giving you the damn links because I just don't care. But of course, well, it's true. I don't. I mean,
yes.
Come on. If HTLA can't even be bothered to make cool little things like I just did on the weekend for my laptop, I created a Facebook account just for my laptop.
Yes.
And it was nice and simple. It's facebook.com/HTLA Crashman.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, but no, share out the social media links. I look at the HTLA social media links. They go on for like 250 characters. Yeah.
You love to do that kind of stuff. You always did.
No, not really so much. No.
As the famous story about Jerry Lee Lewis, you heard that story, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yes. Sitting behind his desk at Paramount, talking with big executives and TV people. And all of a sudden, the chick pops up underneath, wipes off her mouth, and walks out the door. And Jerry doesn't bat an eye.
Why would he? So he keeps telling me that stuff. I'm like, what did I miss something?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, right. So obviously he's like, okay, he's there. He's getting a blowjob and. Right, and then the movie people come in, so
yes.
Don't get up, no. So what? I don't get it. I don't even care.
Yes.
Well, hey, listen, welcome back to the big show, of course, your Tuesday Espresso for this 4th of August, 2015, 90 degrees, New York City, right now, Central Park, sunny skies. Get the hell out there and turn us off. Well, I'm just saying what's in the best interest of the listener.
Yes.
And really, seriously, what's going to be better for them? Sit around inside all day listening to crappy internet radio. Okay, or going out and getting some sun and getting some vitamin D and living life and getting the hell away from their computers and crap. Right?
$88,000 a year they make.
I don't think so. Not according to Obamacare. No.
it's just life, and I love doing it. I love doing these kind of stories anyway.
All right, Louis. Well, let's try going and maybe doing one. Let's do that. Oh, but before we do, I gotta, Gilbert.
Yes.
You gotta give us a little of your Jay Leno. That was awesome.
So I read somewhere that you and Vidic, can you show it to me?
Well, and if you think that's what British ex-Prime Minister Edward Heath did, you'd be absolutely right.
Yes.
That's right. Claims of child sex abuse against ex-British Prime Minister Edward Heath arise today in London. British police watchdog says that it is investigating an English police force's handling of allegations of child abuse against the late Edward Heath. Well, he's dead. Who cares? The former country's former prime minister. Wiltshire police referred the case to the Independent Police Commission, the IPCC, after a retired senior officer alleged that claims were made against Heath, who died back in 2005 in the 1990s. The retired officer came forward last summer claiming that senior officers recorded a prosecution be halted because it would have led to the former prime minister's name being dragged through the mud. Bloody hell. Well, it is alleged that a criminal prosecution was not pursued when a person threatened to expose that Sir Edward Heath may have been involved in offences concerning children, the IPCC said in a statement today. In addition to this allegation, the IPCC will examine whether Wiltshire police subsequently took any steps to investigate these claims whatsoever. Wiltshire police, based in southern England, said it's investigating if there are any witnesses or victims who support the child sex abuse allegations. Well, you know, there's so many over here for Bill Cosby. You know, I'm pretty sure they could probably dig up a few over there.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, in a statement today, Wiltshire police said Heath, who was prime minister under the Conservative government between 1970 and 1974, lived in the city of Salisbury in the county of Wiltshire for many years. He died there at age 89. It is said it wanted anyone with information, of course, to contact the officers, and is working closely with the children's charity to ensure any possible victims are supported. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. If there is evidence of offenses having been committed, we will ensure that, if possible, those responsible are held accountable through a thorough and detailed investigation. This includes any other parties who are identified as having been involved in child sex abuse, the police force added. Well, I would say if it's the deceased Mr. Heath, you're too damn late. Well, Sir Edward Heath Charitable Foundation, which runs a museum at Heath's former home in Salisbury, says it welcomes the investigation, the BBC reported. We wholeheartedly believe it will clear Sir Edward's name, and we will cooperate fully with the police in their inquiries, a foundation spokesman said, according to the broadcaster. The investigation is the latest in relation to a string of allegations of historic child sex abuse involving high-profile figures in Britain. In May, the National Police Chiefs Council, the NPCC, a group that operates across Britain's forces, announced that more than 1,400 suspects, including 76 politicians and dozens of celebrities, are being investigated over allegations of child sex abuse involving VIPs and institutions such as schools. In March, the IPCC said it will investigate allegations of corruption in Scotland Yard itself, relating to child sex offences allegedly involving members of Parliament and police officers. Oh, bloody fun! I say, had that 8-year-old quite wrapped up.
Yes.
Jolly good.
They get f***ing crazy because all of a sudden nobody loves them.
Cheerio. Damn it, number one, it's an anomaly. Wesley. Yes, and for you folks who maybe don't know, that's a reference to the one, the only Wesley Crusher of Star Trek, The Next Generation. Wesley, come sit by the captain. Oh, there you go, Gilbert. I bet you that's an impersonation you can't do. You cannot do Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
I bet you.
You know, I'm the most talented guy in this room.
Not when it comes to the great Sir Patrick Stew.
Well, it's not awful, but just not good.
Right.
My film, Unrepented, did very well in Europe.
Yes, it did. I'm sure all the pedophiles loved your film. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, now that I think about it, Unrepentant, that was the film, 2009. I know because I worked on it with you.
Yes.
That film, if I remember correctly, Unrepentant, that's the one about the Roman Catholic Church coming over and raping all the Indians in Canada. Right. Bloody good show, Johnny. Well, moving on today, we got some archaeological finds in the news. Yes, the archaeologists have found the gate to Goliath's hometown. No word on David.
Yes.
An archaeological dig, now on its 20th year, has uncovered the entrance gate to Gath, the ancient biblical city of the Philistines, and one-time home of the giant Goliath before the king of Damascus destroyed it in 830 BC. Gath was the largest city in the land for hundreds of years, reports the Jerusalem Post. The Bible refers to the massive city gate itself in the story of David's escape from King Saul to the king of Gath. In addition to the city gate, scientists have also unearthed an impressive fortification wall and several stargates. Several other buildings include a temple and an iron production facility, and what the Post calls the earliest decipherable Philistine inscription ever found, which contains two names similar to Goliath, but one that's very similar to Crash Jesus. Well, after finding a huge fortification, it's clearly the most important city of the 10th and 9th century, says the archaeologist in charge of the dig. Per I-24, the long-term dig is part of the Ackerman family Bar Leon University expedition to Gath. A look at the archaeology and history of one of the largest tells, a.k.a. ancient ruin mounds in Israel. The area in central Israel in the Tel Zayif National Park and the Judean foothills has been inhabited almost continuously since the 5th millennium BC. The researchers note in a press release, also recently discovered in Israel, was a mask unlike any other. It looked like Gilbert Godfrey. So that's interesting. I mean, they found the gate to Gath there,
yes.
You know, and you know, but they do you get the same kind of feeling as me that they kind of just skirted over the stargates? Yeah. You know, I really feel like
I think it should be short and sweet.
Well, yeah. Well, they're not really short or sweet. They're kind of round, you know. But,
I nearly got kicked out of a theater. I can't remember what I saw about 2 weeks ago because I was booing and screaming.
Maybe you were watching Stargate. You know, maybe. Well, you know, the only reason I say that is because, you know, I've mentioned Stargate 3 times in the last 60 seconds.
Yes.
Right? And then he comes out with that movie theater booing and screaming thing. I'm thinking there's probably a correlation there. Yeah. Oh, and on today, another terrible escalator accident in China. And, of course, you know, the people with the biggest population on the planet are really worried because 2 people died. That's right. Another devastating escalator accident in China. An employee at Longmont Shopping Mall in Shanghai's Changjing district has his foot and part of his leg amputated after becoming trapped on an escalator, according to the South China Morning Post. The worker, identified simply as Zhang. Yeah, like we'll never find Zhang in China.
Yes.
Right. Well, Zhang was cleaning the escalator with a mop when he reportedly stepped on it, and the mall described the 35-year-old's action as improper. Said that the mop's brush became trapped inside the gap in the stairs, which caused cracks in the comb plate. Video of the incident shows the escalator's floor plate breaking away and Zhang's left foot falling inside the moving staircase. A relative reportedly told local media the doctor said he had to amputate the foot to avoid injuries from deteriorating. The accident is the fourth escalator tragedy in China in 6 days. You know, the Americans are going to come out with a new horror flick, Escalator. Well, as previously reported, Zhang Luyan, yes, 30 years old, was killed last week when she similarly fell through an escalator floor plate at the Anlang department store in Hubei province. A graphic video shows Zhang pushing her son to safety before she is sucked to her death. Days after the incident, a 1-year-old boy's arm was seriously injured after it became trapped in an escalator in Guangxi province. NBC News reports, and a 6-year-old also was injured Saturday after his foot was caught in an escalator in Beijing. The incidents have led to escalator quality inspections in Shanghai and Hubei. Workers reportedly warned the mother just before she was swallowed by the evil escalator. You know, and I'm thinking there's a new boom business here.
Yes.
You know, just in reading that story, I've pretty much done the business plan and worked out the feasibility study.
Yes.
I'm going to get some investors together. We're going to go over to China and open up a whole chain of escalator training outlets. And we will bring that American know-how, that American ingenuity that has saved so many lives.
Yes.
We're going to bring it over to China, and we're going to teach them how to use the effing escalator. And absolutely nothing but money to be made right there, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Don't laugh. I'm going to be rich, you dumbass. Well, finally today, yes, our lovely final story, of course. And, well, I think if you remember yesterday, I think our final story was, I don't know, the University of Illinois being like the best party school.
Yes.
Right? Well, today we've got more university news, but it's, well, it's a little different today. It's about the Boston University students getting schooled on weed. All right, so you like roll it up and right, and then
yes.
Okay, man, no, don't hog the huff. Don't hog the huff. No. Come on, man, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. How the hell do you be a druggie when you're not a druggie? I don't know how to do that.
Wait a minute, I got lost. HTLA.
You still there?
HTLA. Hell is that?
That is your phone. Oh, well, anyway, the first day of class is usually filled with few awkward silences, the professor going over the syllabus in excruciating detail and maybe a cliche icebreaker or two. Dr. Seth Blumenthal, a lecturer at Boston University's Arts and Sciences writing program, breaks the ice with one question for his students. What is your personal and generation stance on legalizing marijuana? Well, they analyze Gallup poll results and show that almost 70% of their generation supports the legalization of marijuana. And then I asked them why that is the case, Blumenthal says. The course is called Marijuana, an American History. Yeah. And it centers on the role of marijuana and what it should play in our society. I'm always looking for the most controversial topics, Blumenthal said. Well, how about gender fluidity, Deke? Now, this was apparently a fascinating issue in that, in a lot of ways, it gives us a window into society's larger anxieties. Blumenthal has taught the class for 4 straight semesters, and we'll dive into it again in the spring of 2015. He says it's been a huge success with students and challenges them to, well, complicate the nature of their conversations about the contentious plant, while smoking copious amounts of it. Well, they're not afraid to talk about marijuana at all, Blumenthal says. The issue becomes talking about it in a scholarly way to dig beneath the surface in an issue that is sort of giggle-worthy. Yes, and think about where the deepest controversies might lie. Whether it's analyzing the public service announcement of David Hasselhoff telling kids not to smoke weed, And watching the then President Richard Nixon warn against the dangers of marijuana, Blumenthal wants his students to examine how America's perception of marijuana has developed over time through the academic lens. I give them the raw material, the actual evidence, bring in academic reading to contextualize, and then issue and let them figure out what it all means, he says. Well, if that's what you're doing, how come they're going to be 6 figures in debt with student loans? Why just bring this stuff up and let them figure it out?
Yes.
No. I'm paying you $100,000. You're going to teach me what it means. Yeah. Well, by examining modern youth issues, Blumenthal says that he's found students recognize the importance of history as a subject, a major that has taken serious dives in academic enrollment. Yes, it's not your parents' history class, Blumenthal says. History as a subject really needs to rethink itself in the light of diminishing enrollments. And I think these are types of topics we can really sink our teeth into and reinvigorate debates about what role history plays in the larger conversation. One of the biggest revelations, he says, is his students find is that class is just not talking about weed and writing papers, but it's a demanding course that involves a lot of research and critical reflection and personal testing. Blumenthal noted that the class, despite its success and popularity, is not without its critics, I should say. There are a lot of people who roll their eyes when they hear that I teach this in class, and that it's to be expected, Blumenthal says. Nonetheless, he believes students and the academic world are ready to talk about pot. You can't miss the fact that this topic has been legitimized in medicine and in the halls of, politics and economics. It only makes sense to legitimize it in academia as well, Blumenthal says. It is an interesting topic that people feel like it's time to have a course about this. No, just him. Just him. He's the only one that wants a course about it, and there you go. Well, hey, gang, that's it for the show today. I want to thank everybody listening out there in listener land, and, of course, all the usual suspects, Sharon Chesley, Devlon Crawford, Phil DeYoung. Well, the list really goes on. I'm not going to say them all. Nah. I thank the one, the only Louis Lawless for being here today again. If you're still awake,
Mr. T would be proud of you.
I'm sure he would, and I'm glad you're awake.
You know how to spell my last name on the check, right? It's Louis Lawless.
We'll get there next week. Next week, no later, it'll be there. Also, Gilbert, thank you for being on the show again today. Love having you.
Thank you for listening and support the show for the love of God.
Yes, sir. There you go. Those social media links one more time.
Don't forget to follow us on our Facebook page, on Twitter, and on Instagram.
That's right, and screw you for the links. Yeah. Finally, for the link that matters, the only one that matters, That's right, NewYorksBestTalk.com. It's all one word. It's really easy. There's no actual letters, numbers you got to screw with.
Yes.
Yeah, just get on over there and check out the show page. That's where it's all at. And speaking of shows, we got a new one tonight, Diminished Capacity, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's coming to you live. And you're just going to poop. You're going to poop. If there's a show out there that's going to make you poop, it's this one. And, of course, your coffee and cigarettes tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, as always, for your Wednesday grinder. Be there, be square. Tim Hortons, New York City. Get there or Care Bear. I don't know. You guys have yourselves a good day.
We're New York's best talk radio, ATLA Radio 1.